to Chasing the Moon RV. My name is Zia. I'm a solo senior woman traveling in a 1994 camper van. This is not, for those of you who are new, this is not about camping. I've actually never been much of a camper, maybe half a dozen times in my whole life. Yes, I want to be out in nature, away from the big cities. I want to be inspired creatively by some of the scenery that I'm passing. And I'm hoping to meet lots of interesting people and perhaps make some new friends, which I have done already. My last video was a little bit of a low point, but it's funny how life can turn on a dime. And after that last video, I hit the road again, heading towards the rest of Ontario. I hit an horrific rainstorm. It was raining so hard, even with my windshield wipers on as fast as they could go, I could not see the road for a few, what felt like hours. It was probably seconds. I slowed down as much as I could, but I was on a highway and I didn't want anyone running into the back of me. Luckily, it passed very quickly, but it was a little bit of a scary moment. I arrived in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and the first thing that I saw there was the Terry Fox Memorial. For those of you who don't know, Terry Fox was a young man that had cancer and lost a leg, and he decided to run across Canada to raise money for cancer research. He had to give up his run in Shania, Ontario, which is a suburb of Thunder Bay, and there's a fabulous memorial there for him. It's interesting because I haven't done a lot of sightseeing. The only other sightseeing I did was to see the Roberta Bodnar Pavilion in Sault Ste. Marie in Ontario. She is a Canadian astronaut, and I thought, isn't it interesting that the two things that I've stopped to see have been about people who I felt were very courageous. I've had people tell me I'm very brave to do this, but I think a woman going into outer space or a young man with cancer running across the country, that's brave. That takes a lot of courage and stamina. I'm not downplaying what I'm doing. I'm very proud of myself. At 70 years old, I thought, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that this year. The clips that you're going to see today happened several weeks ago, and I have been trying to catch up, and I said I was going to try and do 2 videos a week, but I'm finding it hard to even get one done, so please bear with me. Ontario is huge. I said that I was going to make a run for the Maritimes. Well, you can't really make a run through Ontario. It takes days to get through this province. I always knew it was big. I just didn't know how big. So, yeah, that took a long time. And there are so many lakes here. And I thought it was kind of funny because I think they ran out of names for some of the lakes. So I was coming across lakes there was Dad Lake, Baby Lake, Orphan Lake. I never did see a Mom or a Mama Lake. There was even an old woman river, lake, and bay. Some of them just had names like Peggy Lake or Dave Lake. When I was in Thunder Bay, I had a very magical moment. I was staying at my first Boondockers Welcome location, and during the night, I lifted up the blind next to my bed, and I watched the full moon coming up through the the trees in the forest next to me, and I could see the light filtering down. It was so beautiful. And while I was watching the moon, I started seeing these flashing lights. And I thought that they were car headlights off in the distance. And then I realized that they were fireflies. And I had never seen a firefly before. We don't have them in British Columbia. So there were all these bright sparks of light and the moon coming up. And it was that kind of moment that I hope to experience while I'm on this trip. As you know, the channel's called Chasing the Moon RV, and I've always had a connection with the moon. I've been known to get in my car at 3 o'clock in the morning to drive out somewhere where there weren't a lot of city lights so that I could see an eclipse or see the full moon somewhere where it really showed. I never tire of it. So that's where the name for the channel came from. In Ontario, I drove through two really large provincial parks. I believe you pronounce it Pukasqua, and the other one was Superior. Quintessential Ontario landscape. There were so many sort of swampy ponds in rocky outcroppings, and I expected to see a moose come wading out into those ponds. I never did see one. I'm still hoping, because I hear that in the Maritimes there's a lot of moose, so we'll see. I'm finding, you know what, when you see little kids, or maybe you remember when you were a kid, if you were somewhere by yourself and there was another child there by themselves, you'd walk up to them without any problem and say, "Do you want to play?" Well, I'm kind of turning into that kid again, because when I see people, especially people if they're in, you know, RVs, I'll immediately go up and start chatting to them, trying to find out where they're from and where they're going and what they're doing. And yeah, it's kind of made me a little bit childlike again. But I think also this is the first time in my life that I've really felt authentically me. Doing what I want to do when I want to, you know, going where I want to go, dealing with situations. And this is what this was about, really. It's been a personal challenge for me. It's not particularly about sightseeing, although I love waking up in a different place every day and wondering what's going to be ahead of me. And I can't wait to slow down and do a little more roaming around in the Maritimes. I don't want to give up on doing things yet. I've always had a feeling that that I was meant to figure out in this life how to be okay on my own, to take care of myself, to know that I could do that. In Ontario, I have had such hot, humid days that have taken a bit of a toll on Charlie, trying to keep him cool. One day outside of Ottawa, it was 100 degrees inside the van, and it was 97% humidity. It's been challenging, but I kind of put it out there to the universe that, okay, I want to know that I can take care of myself. So they're making me do that and take care of Charlie at the same time. I'm not sorry in the least that I came on this trip. I'm really excited to see what still lies ahead. Kind of been babbling on a bit, haven't I? Enjoy the following video. Some of it I've already explained to you what was going on. This is the entrance to the memorial.
How did he get cancer?
The Lake Superior. Just pulled into this lookout on our way to Terrace Bay. Beautiful, beautiful view. Scrambled eggs and croissants on the side of Lake Superior. It looks like the ocean. There's even seagulls here, but it's not. Charlie and I are in Sault Ste. Marie, where the Lake Huron meets Lake Superior through the lock system. I don't know what that building is over in the distance. Interesting though. Lots of old buildings along here. As you can see, there's an American flag over there. And this is the bridge that connects Sault Ste. Marie, Canada with Sault Ste. Marie in the United States. There's a really pretty boardwalk that goes all the way along, and hanging planters. Well, I made it to Canada's capital, Ottawa. I had to come to the capital at least once in my lifetime. So I'm here. It's raining again. Oh well. There's a lot of always, wherever you are, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, I hope you've had or are having a wonderful day. Bye-bye for now.